The Gravedigger by Kieran Marsden. The hot summer's sun beat down on his neck as a bead of sweat dripped down his neck. He raised the spade and sunk it into the hard, dry soil. He was tired, sure, physically, but there was an emotional drain too. He felt empty, and up until now, childhood energy had seen him to this point, untainted. But as he lifted the soil, he felt he was now meeting life for the first time head-on. His name was Jamie MacDonald. He was 17, and until recently, he'd been going to college. Socially, he fit in. Tall, handsome, well-dressed. He walked on and off that college bus with a cool swagger every day, knowing the attention would come to him. He made sure his long hair shined by conditioning it every morning. He wore his bag with one strap, and he smiled a lot. This was enough for young Jamie to attract the looks of young girls, and to be talking to them in his DMs every evening. College had been easy, socially. He barely went to a lesson, and before long he was messaging Carly Pellegrini, the hottest girl at college, so he thought. She did the sports course, and watching her come onto that college bus when it picked her up in her village, coming onto that bus in just a sports bra and tight gym pants, well, that was the highlight of many boys' summer. He'd been laying on his bed in his attic room one evening, with the PS5 controller laying dormant beside him. Instagram had won the endorphins battle, and he was flicking through it. Carly Pellegrini popped up, in a post. Typically Instagram, not very natural at all, while trying to make it look natural. Her perfect body reaching out for a Starbucks. Presumably she'd been there after college. The paper Starbucks cup just to the right of the table slightly, making sure every inch of her cleavage could be seen. To hell with it, he said. Jamie MacDonald didn't normally message girls, they messaged him. But as he looked at that practically perfect body, in that filter presumably called something cool, he went for a direct message. Short and sweet, he said, "Hey." He had heard girls hated that, but if she liked him, she would reply. And it was 2 nights later when she did. Again he was laid on his bed when the message came through, and a sticky tissue had replaced the PS5 controller. In a post-clearance clarity, he read her message. "Hey, sorry, how's it going? Seen you around on the bus. I don't come on here much. Here's my number, WhatsApp me." And that's what he did. Messages turned into voice notes, and voice notes turned into phone calls, and phone calls turned into a few naughty pictures. It wasn't supposed to be serious, Jamie told himself. But he remembered on a bitterly cold night sitting outside McDonald's, sipping on hot chocolate with Christmas lights behind her head, he fell in love. He knew it. She now occupied the majority of his mind, and as he watched her smile and the gloss of her lips the colour of a rose, he decided there was nothing else in the world he needed more than Carly Pellegrini. Christmas Day last year had been the best of his life. That evening, playing Monopoly with his family, Carly sitting there with his little sister on her lap, all laughing, sharing chocolates. Then them going up to his attic room and watching the Disney film WALL-E on BBC One, as big white snowflakes landed on the attic window above their heads. It wasn't long before they was naked under the sheets, taking it slow, loving each other with their lips. A little later they were laid up in bed, totally naked, her leg over his, as the 10 o'clock news came on, and the king's face was there. At that moment he knew Carly would be the woman he married. But that now was a world away. In the hot summer's heat, he was cold. The spade went into the ground, the soil came up, and he threw it. "Oh, bloody hell, Jamie. How many times have I got to tell you? You chuck the excess onto the tarpon." Jamie didn't look at Ray Booker. He didn't have to. He could see him in his mind, standing over him with dungarees on, with literally nothing on underneath. The man had been the town's gravedigger for at least 40 years. His skin had turned leather from spending so much time out in the sun. If you had a family member in this town who was deceased, Ray had probably dug their final resting place. It was then Jamie sat down in the hole in the ground, and he began to cry. It was a real cry, head between his legs, that ended up with snot between his legs. The telling off he was expecting just never came, and as Jamie got control of himself and looked back, Roy was walking back to the grave to be. "Here you go, you poor sod," said Roy, handing him a cold can of beer. Jamie could see the droplets of condensation on the metal. "What? Really?" he said, sniffling. "Oh, are you allowed?" "Look, lad," said Roy, cracking open his can. "I've worked here all my life. Nobody's going to tell me what to do now." Jamie took the can. It was wrong in so many ways. He was at work. It was 11 a.m. and he was 17. "Roy, I think, Jamie, open the can and relax." "Right, come and sit on this ledge." He did, and the 17-year-old and 61-year-old sat with their beers as their leg dangled into the human pit. "Now, you're going to tell me what's the matter. What's on your mind?" said Roy. This was Jamie's third shift. He had started on the Monday, and now it was Wednesday. In that entire time, Roy had essentially said 2 words: dig and there. Jamie looked at the litany of tombstones in front of him. This death ground was bizarrely beautiful. Colourful flowers garnished the grounds, and a small stone church was behind them, with a great oak tree at its side. As he looked at his beer can, he sighed, and decided to let it all out. "Roy, I feel like I've completely messed up my life." Roy took a long drink on his beer. "Boy, why are you thinking about life?" "'Cause it's my life, Roy." "Yeah, well, you get off at 5 p.m, right?" said Roy, drinking more beer. "What are you doing tonight?" said Roy. "I don't know." "Why don't you know?" "I just haven't thought about it." "And there you go. You're worrying about life, but it sounds like you don't appreciate it at all." "No, I don't mean it like that. I mean, just, I feel like I'm done. I mean, I don't want to be a..." Jamie stopped. "Digging graves all your life?" "Sorry, Roy." "Don't be. But Jamie, you're not thinking right. All your focus is on the dark. Do me a favour. Concentrate on today. You're 17. You dig this grave today and enjoy that beer I gave you. Smile and enjoy the moment. If you think like an absolutist, considering your whole life in just a moment, then, Jamie, you will waste your life. Enjoy the ride. When you wake up every morning, concentrate on the faces in front of you. You need to appreciate them. Be strong for them. Appreciate the faces that you wake up to. Sip a hot coffee. Appreciate the walk. These are the luxuries that not everybody has. Jamie, your whole life is in front of you. Stop concerning yourself with how to make a good life and start concerning yourself with living a good life. Concern yourself with each day. We don't complete a jigsaw puzzle in one move. It's bit by bit, working in that same direction over time. And eventually, a picture comes together. Something we understand, something to be proud of. And when it does come together, we can look back at the journey with joy that we had making it. Can you do that for me, Jamie? Just focus on today and make it the best you can." Jamie slowly looked at an old red face that put a blue beer can to his lips. "But what do I know? I'm just a gravedigger," said Roy, looking at the beer can and crunching it in his hands. slowly getting up and patting Jamie on the back. Jamie sat there for a moment and allowed the man's word to seep deep into his soul. He then downed his beer and began to dig. He digged hard, in the beating sun, tossing the soil again and again. He enjoyed the way it felt on his shoulders and back as it burnt, lactic acid in the muscles and the sun on his skin. Jamie was now 6 feet deep, and the sun was cast into a shadow, as he could feel Roy standing there, standing over him. "Son, I'm glad you heard what I said. Life really is a great shame. The one going in here? So young. A girl. Your age, I think." Jamie listened to the crack of a beer can. "Carly is her name. Carly something Italian. Pellegrani, Grini." "You know her?"